Welcome to Love and Hustle. We share unfiltered stories of marriage, entrepreneurship, and scaling to seven figures without losing sight of what matters most.
The raw, the real, the sacrifices, and the lessons learned the hard way.
This is Love and Hustle. Welcome back to Love and Hustle. I'm Brittany, and this is the podcast where couples, companies, and chaos collide. And I am so excited to have another guest on today's episode, Nicole Bylinen, who is based in North Florida. She is a photographer, and we are going to be talking about all things Instagram. Imagine waking up tomorrow and the platform your entire business was built on is gone. No warning, no support, no way to get it back, just gone. And that is what we're going to be talking about. Nicole is going to be sharing her story. But before we jump in, Nicole, introduce us to yourself. Tell us about your business.
Nicole, and I have a full-service maternity, newborn, and family photography business in Northwest Florida, and I also have branches in Dallas, Memphis, and Indianapolis.
Oh my gosh, you are so amazing. I love watching like all your growth and like hitting these cities. It's so amazing. And of course, to see your heart to serve moms. I am so lucky because I got to meet you, and I also got to have my photos done by you as well at our family beach house on 30A. Your work is so amazing, and you are just like, the energy that you guys feel from Nicole on this podcast is really how she is in real life, and her like everything about you, like it's just so authentic, and I can't wait for you to share just like this kind of vulnerable piece of your business, but also kind of like, I feel like a come to Jesus moment for you or anyone who experiences this, but also to like see and hear the experience of another business, and to hopefully walk away from this podcast with some helpful tips and tools that photographers can utilize within their own Instagram. So first, let's share with the audience your story. What happened? Can you kind of give us a little bit of context? Like, how long had you been in business? How large had you grown your Instagram?
Yeah, so I had been in business for 7 or 8 years at this point, and it was November of 2024, and I was on my way home. I was driving in the car, and I got this notification in my email that somebody else had logged into my Instagram account, and from that point it was pull over, let's fix this. Having been verified with Facebook and Meta, I was able to get my hacked account back. So the hacking was not the worst part of the story. It was what came after that. I think you're muted, Brittany.
We definitely don't need to cut that one out. We'll just keep that. You're like, Brittany, you're muted. You're muted, Brittany. Okay. Sometimes I mute myself because there's noise. Okay. Anyways. So tell me, you see this notification, you know how sometimes it'll tell you where this person is located. Did you get to see the location of this individual?
It said Louisiana.
So like close. This wasn't like sometimes you get the obscure, like somebody in, like Bangladesh is like trying to access your account, and you're just like, oh, clearly that's not. But like, I mean, Louisiana, like this isn't far. You have people in different hubs. So it's like, could someone of your team have been, oh my gosh. Okay. So tell us the rest.
So I regained access to my account. I thought the story was over. I thought we were good to go. And that was not the case. For weeks and months after this, almost every single day, I was getting a notification on not only that account, but on every single Instagram account I have. Because I have multiple locations, I was in the process of beginning Instagram accounts for each location. And not only was my main Instagram account being reported, so was every single Instagram account I had, including a personal account that I hadn't used in over a decade. So we were talking months of um, appealing the process here, where it was being reported. And so I would have to set in my driver's license every day. And it was making it non functional. I couldn't go on there and post because I'm spending time here trying to fight this reporting.
Wow.
Yeah. And one day, I don't know if I didn't get to it fast enough or it had been reported too many times, but it was gone. And that was where the verified checkmark helped with nothing. It was a rat's maze of messaging Meta and saying, hey, I have this issue. And receiving a canned response of, oh, I understand that you've been hacked. Here's how we can help you. I'm like, no, you're not understanding that I've been hacked. That's been resolved. This is coming from your end.
Wow. That's insane. Okay, so didn't you, because you shared with me how you actually had like recovered the account at one point, right? You
Mhm.
had recovered it, you thought you were good, and then you weren't. Do you know what exactly like happened in the process of, hey, we got your account, like here's access to like no, it's done. Like, do you know what exactly transpired from this hacker?
I imagine because I did get access to my account again, and they were not able to regain access to the inside of my account.
Okay.
But anybody, if somebody were to be upset with you tomorrow, Brittany, and decided they wanted to make your life hard, all they have to do is go to the corner of your Instagram profile and report your account. And that's what was happening. I imagine I was being targeted after that.
Okay, so do we even like have any idea if this could this have been somebody like not even like a quote like hacker in like another country? Like could this have just been like some girl from middle school who didn't get along with you or something? Like could that have been the situation? That like
Hypothetically, yes.
that just like
Um,
literally like escalated so like there wasn't anything that was happening in the sense of like you hear of things where people are being like messaged like I've had people whose account like I've texted them and I've been like, hey, I think your account's been hacked, like I just got a really weird message from you and I'm pretty sure that's not you. Like that wasn't happening in your account, or was it?
that for the initial hacking, yes. But after that, with where it was hitting all of my accounts, it was just somebody from the outside reporting my account. And just the timing of it and the fact that it stopped after I gave up and created a new account leads me to believe it was the original hacker.
Wow. I wonder too if like the original hacker like didn't get what they wanted and they're like, "Oh, I'm so mad." And then they're
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna report it and report her and report her until she basically loses it
Till I
all."
give up. Exactly. And I think if I was Nicole Smith, that might not have been an issue. But because I have such a unique last name, they were able to find every single account I had ever had and just
Ugh,
report it over and over again. It was
oh my gosh.
so frustrating.
Okay, so now that everybody is just like feel like everybody has goosebumps right now listening to this. Like they're realizing the reality that like this can happen to you. This truly is like this is a reality of any account, and it's scary too because here we are as businesses trying to grow our companies, increase our engagement in our marketing. This is like an actual engine within our businesses, and it's if you're just somebody with an Instagram account, and you're not using it professionally, you don't understand the amount of turmoil and weight that this app holds in our lives.
Hmm.
I mean, it is just like we spend so much time and energy, and so with that I'm sure you not only lost the audience, you lost all of the content. um you lost like really sort of like your brand recognition on the platform itself, right? um That is just like, so there's so much associated to it from the sense of a business that just feels like I can't even imagine. Like I already struggle so much operating on social media, but then to just lose it all has got to feel so defeating. Um, so I like in the first like 24 to 48 hours, like where were you? Were you in like pure panic? Were you in strategy mode? Like when you kind of knew that this was like were you exhausted because you had been fighting this? Like tell us a little bit more about what you were like going through in those first like few days after.
Yeah, so the first few days, I immediately went into fixer mode. I said, here's a problem. We are going to tackle it. We're going to find a solution. And that was the space where I lived for 2 months, honestly, trying to fix this problem. And initially it worked. I don't think I shed zero tears, and I take great pride in that. I immediately went into, okay, it's a problem. We can fix a problem. So
Yeah.
that was
I feel like too that's like your personality. Like there's like a moment of like, "Oh my God." And then you're like problem solving. And I feel like honestly that's like all of us moms. We're like, "Let's have a moment. We're going to ugly cry for a second and moving on. Let's create a solution."
yes.
Um that's amazing. And I'm like so happy that you were able to like move forward and start, kind of damage controlling. So in all of this, you started to, kind of redirect your business. You started to build out like other channels, within your marketing is kind of is what you shared with me. Can you point to a little bit of the statistics of like what Instagram, as far as like weight in your business, what did it hold at that point in time?
Yeah, it accounted for about 30% of my leads at that time.
That's amazing. That's like actually a pretty good amount. I mean, obviously like every business has different like there's so many different channels, right? Like we have Instagram, we have word of mouth, we have, printed advertising, we have partnerships. And for me, Instagram doesn't actually hold like a massive like weight in it. But I will say I do get a lot of leads through it, but they're not necessarily the ones who convert. I have higher other converting. So, in the sense of like losing that 30%, what was the impact of that? Obviously, you probably felt it in the way of leads, but what was that impact in the way of like your revenue and your bookings?
I'm happy to report that between 2024, which was when I was hacked, and 2025, I actually saw an 11% increase in revenue. And it did not,
Amazing.
yeah, so it didn't have as much damage as it could have done.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, that is a testament to operating a business model that does not have a cap. And it's one of the things I like teach so like heavily in my coaching program is the fact that like when you okay, so let me define what a cap means for those who maybe don't understand that. A cap means that, like, for every booking, there is an amount of money that you will make. This could be your lowest to highest collection. This could be whatever is the highest potential outcome that you could have with a client. That is your cap. And when you remove that cap and you build a business model that truly is rooted in a limitless possibility. I like to call it a value-based model because it allows the client to determine what it is that they value, whether that be digital images or, printed artwork or albums. It really removes the cap. So people can come into your business and they can spend, let's just say your lowest being like, I'm just going to throw it out there, $2,000 or your highs, which there isn't a cap, right? There technically isn't a cap with what I teach and how it's designed. And that's one of the beautiful things is that even when you're having a slow month or the leads are not coming in the way that you thought, or maybe you're just kind of in a lull and like things aren't converting, the bookings that you still had, you can still make as much or more than the busiest month. And I remember this happened to us last year. We had a really quiet summer. And in some ways, we were kind of like relieved because, here in Florida, it's freaking hot. Sometimes we're like, we don't want to go out there and sweat. Like, nobody wants to go out there and do that, right? But it was wild because we had actually the best month that we had had since we'd moved into my new studio. Yet we had done the fewest number of sessions that we had done. And so it's just amazing to see like on the other side how like the business model is so important, right, to the big picture. So obviously like you had lost like this lead engine that was accounting for 30%, but you still made up, you made up and then some the revenue, and it's like such a testament of it's such a testament of one, like having a really powerful and sustainable business model, and two, I think it's a testament of how I'm almost like afraid to say this. I'm like, is my phone listening right now? Is like the Instagram God's gonna come get me? It's almost like it's like validating to hear as a business because it's like it doesn't actually matter, right? Like it matters, but it like doesn't matter that much, right? Um, and so, okay, so tell me a little bit about what you did. I remember when we were talking, you were like, I got scrappy. And I was like, you didn't get scrappy. You pivoted. Like, you got smart. You like doubled down in the areas that you knew you could. Tell me more about what you did in your marketing when, like, poof, Instagram was gone.
Yeah. So I leaned more into the audience that I owned, my newsletter. So I leaned into that more. I joined more Facebook groups and interacted with people. As an introvert, that was harder, but I did a more interaction in Facebook groups and really connected with people that way. And also some paid marketing through ads, as well as, the other stuff that we do, like you mentioned before, where we're actually going in person to meet people and partnerships that way.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think it's so important for like photographers to hear too, because I get asked like so often, in the coaching program, like, what do you do for marketing? And it's like, it's not a one size fits all. And it's also one of those things where it's like all the channels work, like they all work, right? Like paid marketing can work, Instagram can work, word of mouth can work, partnerships can work, referrals can work. It's just a matter of which one are you putting your time, which one are you putting your effort into, what is your strategy in those, and how are they working in conjunction with your bookings. And so to hear you say like I went and I did the things that you weren't really doing and it worked is amazing. Because I think too, like marketing is one of those things that's like it never goes away. It will always be there. It is always evolving. And, we just have to get comfortable with like going and doing it. And then, too, in some cases, you're like, I was really uncomfortable, but you force yourself into that instead of just like giving up. And it's truly like a testament of your resilience as a business owner. And like, you should be so proud sitting here, like, just to think of like how hard this had to have been to go through. So, basically it's like Instagram didn't mean you had to start over. It just means that you had to get really focused in new and maybe some of the other ways that you were working. Okay, so I kind of want to talk to you about like what you've done since on social.
Mhm.
Whether you did like any sorts of like calls to action to like your newsletter list, or did you do anything in like your local area to try to get people reposting you, anything in and around that. And then that's when I'll kind of do like a little like call to action, for those listening, like if you know anybody I would love to, what are your cities? So Destin is a keyword.
Destin, Dallas, Memphis, and Indianapolis.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. Okay, so we know that strong businesses are not built on platforms, but that they are built on a strong ecosystem with multiple lead sources. And it's clear that because you were able to make up for this, you had that within your own business. But as far as like regrowing that Instagram, what have you done since you went down to just zero followers? What transpired after that in the way of regaining followers there?
Right. So I had written to my newsletter and requested follows back there, within local Facebook groups to explain the situation and request follows there, and really leaning into my amazing client base. They were all so supportive. So many of them shared and helped in that transition, to help me gain some traction back from there.
Yeah, that's so awesome. It's so great to hear. Like, it's so great to hear. You always kind of wonder when something terrible is going to happen. Like, will your troops rally around you? And to see that happen for you is amazing for sure. Were there any like other businesses that were local to you that were just like, oh, this sucks. I need to lift Nicole up. Like, did you see that as well?
Yes, there were a few. Actually, the original hacking thing, the whole thing came from another business, and they were very supportive in helping to share as well as several other local businesses that I'm connected with were very supportive in trying to build some of that back.
So you went down to zero for your primary account, which is based in Destin. And so like I'm assuming that there was a separate handle for, Dallas, Memphis, and Indianapolis, right?
Correct.
And all of those went down to zero because they were associated to your primary account.
No, they did not go down to zero. Yeah, I only lost the one. However, I decided after the main account going down to pivot, and we have all four locations in one Instagram now. I kind of take on the mindset of a wedding photographer who is in multiple destinations, and we're just all going to be in one place here as we rebuild instead of trying to separate my attention.
Yeah, and I will say it's really hard to manage multiple Instagrams. I have multiple Instagrams. It's super hard. And it's such a pull between do we unite in one platform and try to speak to different areas or like maybe different niches? And how does that affect keywords? And there's so many differing opinions on whether they should be together or combined, but I totally get why you got them all on one. Like I can see that for sure. So anybody who is listening right now, this is the part where you pick up your phone and you head over to Instagram. You guys are going to look up Nicole. I'm going to spell her name for you guys so that you can find her. So you will look up Nicole, Nicole dot Bielenin. Nicole Thielenin. Am I saying it right?
It's okay. It's Belenin.
We practiced this too,
Close
you guys.
enough.
We
It's
got
fine.
on here and I still don't say it right. Glennon. So you'll head over and go to her Instagram and give her a follow. And then there is the share her profile. I want you to send her profile to anybody that you know in Destin, Dallas, Memphis, or Indianapolis, because those are the three locations that she shoots in. She has an amazing team. She's full service. If you know a busy mom in those areas, let's lift Nicole up. Even though we all know that like the number of followers is not it's not it's not everything, right? They call it vanity metrics. But I know that there are so many moms who deserve to find you, and us sharing your profile today, I know will be as much a gift to them as it is for growing your followers. So, okay, so you obviously have, the amazing part is that your Instagram, do you remember how many followers you had before?
I was creeping up on 3,000.
Okay. And now you're under 1,000. So that's like that. But I think what's like so amazing is to see that like you're still thriving. Like you're still thriving and your business is like still alive and well. And even though it maybe doesn't feel like it when you go to your Instagram, right? When you see like, you don't see as many posts as I'm sure you had, right? But you still are alive and thriving. So if you could give advice to somebody here who owns a business, who, has hopefully never has to experience what you went through, but if you could give advice to them on what you would do in your account, what would it be?
In your account specifically?
Like on your Instagram.
Mm, For protection or just for growth?
Well, let's do both. What would you
Okay.
do in the way of like, can you share anything that like you wish you would have done as far as protecting your account?
So as far as protecting my account, I think I did everything I could, have that check mark. That is what's going to get you access to support immediately if you need it. So pay for the Meta Verified. It's worth the access to support.
Okay.
Um, and don't answer any shady messages. That, I could have avoided a lot of that just in avoiding a message that I shouldn't have answered.
Okay.
Um,
Do you remember the message exactly?
that it was coming from a friend's account that
Okay.
they were gonna do something. I can't remember exactly. All I remember is that I was not feeling well and I was not on my game. So I didn't think it through as well as I normally would have. And,
Yeah,
the
and
rest
like
is
click
history.
something. Yeah, like click something or oh my gosh. Yeah. I feel like sometimes I just got an email from the Chamber of Commerce of Tampa and they were like, hey, like if you'd like to get your business registered within our database, like click here, you can register your account. And it had the fee in the email. And I'm like, why is it $100 to hit? Like I'm a member. Like that's insane. And so it just the fact that it said that like kind of tipped me off a little bit, but it looked like an email that would have been maybe from somebody on their board or somebody like a secretary or something. And then I started to like look in the email and the email was just really bizarre. And I was like, no, this is a scam. But like, no, but sometimes you're just like you're not on your game and you're not like thinking. And I think about too, like I hate saying this, but like the boomers and stuff. Like my parents would totally fall for these terrible things.
I know, my
They
grandparents
just
all the
wouldn't,
time.
yeah, they just like wouldn't think twice about like investigating that. Okay, so obviously be extremely cautious in your messages. And then in the way of like like just coming out of this and like just rising above it, what would be your number one like tip for somebody who's experienced this?
Well, my biggest advice is that social media needs to be social. That was the biggest mindset shift I had to have after this happened. Going on there and creating genuine connections through social media, not just using it as a work chore where I post something and run away, but actually creating meaningful conversations with people. And that may not be the quickest growth, but it is the most meaningful, and that is what matters in our space here.
That's such good advice. And it's like quality over quantity, right? And I think it's so true. It's like, I think sometimes we give, because as business owners, naturally, we like the data. We want to look at the metrics. We want to like see the analytics of everything. How is this working? Like, is it worth our time? And it's like, you think about how your reel maybe only reached 500 people, but if you had been in a room with 500 people recording that, that's like a lot of people, you know? And so not getting so wrapped up in it and really taking the time is so great. So let's talk a little bit about your business, where it is now. You've obviously grown a team and you've been able to grow a team while also being full service, offer products as well. Can you share a little bit about what that's like having, obviously you're managing leads from all over these cities, but you have one consistent brand, you have one consistent purpose and mission to your business. Can you share with us a little bit more about what that's been like for you?
Yeah, so really the best people, having people who are servant-hearted on my team to be able to share the same vision that I share, to be able to serve moms and families fully has been the key to that. Having people who can share in that and help me grow, because it definitely has not just been a Nicole effort, it has been a full team effort in all of our locations as we're growing.
That's amazing. Are all of your photographers also moms?
Yes.
Oh, so amazing. And then here's a question just because I'm so curious. So do you predominantly manage the social or do you guys do it collectively?
I predominantly manage it, but I do have help on Reels occasionally. I'm not the most savvy with that, so I do have a little bit of help.
Yeah. And then when it comes to like shooting and that whole process, like the whole client experience, are they stepping in just pieces of that big picture or are they executing the entire client experience?
Yeah, so on my end, we take care of client interaction and onboarding to start. The photographer steps in and they do the session as well as the sales meeting afterward, and any sort of on the ground coordination that needs to happen there. And I handle editing. Actually, I have an editor on my team, but I go through and I quality control all of our images, all of the artwork that comes out of NBP, gets quality control checked by me.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such an undertaking because I definitely have been there. I now have, I've built out my team to do a lot of that kind of stuff on their own. But that's so awesome. And I love that, like, I don't know, I think sometimes just for like the photographers listening, I think, like we can only be so big on our own. And I think as artists, we sometimes like look to what we can create, like what we create can only be created by us, right? And that nobody can shoot like us, nobody can edit like us, nobody can serve like us. And I think that when you find people who have the same common value system and the same like mission and purpose, that you can recreate that. And I mean, gosh, just look at all the businesses that are like nationwide or international that create an amazing client experience, but have lots of people who are operating those businesses, and so having those systems is huge. And it's also really cool too, as you and I both sit here, we both have teams, is like I look at the not only I don't not like yes, it's awesome for us. Like we're not always the ones behind the camera. We're not the ones that are like carrying the weight of everything. But when you take some of that load off of you, you're able to like move into other areas of your business or in your personal life. And so I haven't shot, I probably shot maybe like 6 sunsets in the last year. And that's, yeah. So, I mean, there's Sarah sometimes she shoots like almost double that in like a month. And so, to be able to not only have that sort of freedom for myself, but then to have somebody who wouldn't otherwise want to, like Sarah doesn't want to manage an Instagram. Like it's like the last thing she wants. She doesn't want to like have to deal with like, all of the marketing and, the pivoting that you had to experience. And I think those are the things that make entrepreneurship so hard and why it's like artists really struggle in this space is because we have to learn how to be business owners. We have to be able to think on our toes in marketing. We have to be able to manage a platform and actually manage operations, not just get to be the artist. And it's so cool to hear that you get to employ these women and they actually get to serve and be the artist, which is such a gift to them and a gift to all of the moms that you guys get to work with. Well, I have enjoyed this podcast so much, and I really hope it gave a lot of good things that people can walk away with, knowing hopefully more than anything that mindset shift, like you said. So before we hop off, I want to rapid fire. So are you a frames or an album girl?
By very narrow margins, albums.
Okay, so you obviously like albums more. When it comes, do you like studio or outdoor?
Oh, I like whatever I'm doing at the time. I am in a new studio space and I'm really enjoying that right now.
That's amazing. Are you is your you have like a commercial studio space or is it somewhere in your home?
I now have a commercial space here.
That's so awesome. And you obviously service 30A and you do a lot of beach shoots. But if you got to pick beach or, some of like the beautiful mossy trees, I know you shoot at like a couple of different like beautiful locations. If you got to pick one, what would it be?
The beach. I still would go back to the beach every day.
I mean, when you're on the Emerald Coast, like, yeah, I get it.
Hard to beat. It's hard to beat.
Yeah, no. If you have not been to 38, you guys, the sand is like powder and the water is like crystally blue. And it's just like, it's rare that it's not like, that seaweed washes in or it is so beautiful there. So yeah, I totally get that. Here in Tampa, our beaches are not that pretty. So my answer would not be the beach.
I was a little bit surprised when I visited last year. They are, yeah.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah. So if you're not from Florida and you're thinking of doing a beach vacation, Tampa, St. Pete, it's really not the prettiest beaches in Florida. There are much prettier beaches. And it's so interesting to see how like just around the state the water and the sand is so different. But the Panhandle is by and far, I think, the most beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, for joining me on this podcast. I have so loved getting to hear your story. Thank you for being so vulnerable and also just like bringing us all to that space of realizing vanity metrics are not everything. Building trust and community is really truly where it's at.
Thank you so much, Brittany. I am so grateful to have been here with you today.
Amazing. Talk to you guys soon.